3 spine-chilling true tales of sinister neighbors, secrets revealed and terrifying truths exposed. Sarah's heart raced as she stepped into the tranquil cul-de-sac of Sacramento, California. The air seemed sweet, but shadows loomed at the edges of her new life, where every smile from a neighbor felt oddly brittle. Her 6-year-old daughter, Lily, played joyfully on the lawn, blissfully unaware of the lurking chaos beneath the surface. They were eager for a fresh start, a dream cradled in the cozy arms of a quiet suburb. Yet, the air was thick with whispers, shadows chasing secrets. Out at the end of the street, Mr. Tompkins, the reclusive old man, went missing. No police search, no concerns from the neighbors. Just a silent house where curtains hung like heavy drapes of neglect. This disappearance sent icy tendrils curling around Sarah's spine. Muffled screams and panic-stricken arguments crested from the Johnsons' home. Just last week, she'd shared cookies with them, yet now, pulses raced like wild rabbits as Sarah peered out from behind her curtains, heart hammering, listening for a scream caught in the night air. Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Every family who moved in across the street from the Johnsons left almost as quickly as they came. The "for sale" signs hung limp, as though they too had given up hope. With every day that passed, Sarah felt a tightening in her gut. Mrs. Jenkins, the kind old lady who loved baking, would invitingly wave her whisk, but all Sarah could see were secrets shrouded in flour. The flickering porch lights cast eerie shadows, distorting friendly faces into grotesque forms. Something was wrong. Then came the night when she caught a glimpse of Lily playing outside, spinning in delight. Suddenly, whispers fluttered on the breeze. Dark legacy, generations. Instinctively, Sarah felt the hairs on her neck stand tall and prickly. That night, she dug through her attic, desperate to grasp the truth. A faded photograph slid from a box, revealing a connection between the Tompkins family and the Johnsons, a pact sealed by echoes and darkness. As dread festered in her bones, the shudders of the world felt too close. The howling wind seemed to carry warnings as loss lingered in the corners of Sarah's mind. A shadow moved past her window, sending a shiver coursing through her. That silent scream in a basement echoed louder than anything she'd ever heard. The door creaked in sinister cooperation with the chaos around her, revealing an abyss filled with whispers of terror and the scent of decay. Standing at the threshold, fingers trembling as icy dread clawed at her heart, Sarah took a breath. Would she discover the unspeakable horror that haunted her quiet street? What lay hidden behind that door, waiting to ensnare her both in truth and terror? With her daughter's innocence in peril, the clock was ticking, and all Sarah could hear was the whispering darkness calling her to unveil the unimaginable. The grip of darkness tightened around Sarah as she stood before the basement door, each second stretching into eternity. The house creaked, a ghostly echo of the many lives that had breathed within its walls. The scent of mildew clung to the air, mingling with something far worse, like rancid flesh. She could feel her pulse pounding in her ears, the sound mingling with the whispers that seemed to beckon her closer. Just a peek, she thought, but the word twisted in her mind, becoming an acid-laced promise. She didn't want to look. But as her heart raced with adrenaline and terror, curiosity clawed at her, screaming for answers. With shaking hands, she grasped the doorknob, the cold metal biting into her skin, and turned it slowly. The door swung open with a groan, revealing a pitch-black abyss. Flickering shadows danced along the walls, illuminated by the faint light from the upstairs window. She could hear soft, muffled thumps echoing from the depths below, a rhythmic beat, like a heart dragging its weary weight through the dark. A chill weaved its way down her spine as she took her first step onto the worn staircase. "Lily," she whispered, fear threading into each syllable. The words hung fragile in the heavy atmosphere. She needed to be brave, to fight the monsters that lurked in the corners of her mind. But there was no response from her daughter, a silence so dense that it pressed against her chest. Sarah descended, heart pounding, feeling the damp walls close in around her. A flash of movement caught her eye in the corner, a fleeting ghost of light that vanished as quickly as it appeared. She paused, breath held tight, feeling the emptiness surround her. Then, she heard it giggling, soft and innocent. Lily's laughter echoed from the darkness, echoing like a siren's call. The voice made Sarah's heart swell and shatter at the same time. Was it really Lily? Or was it a trick, an echo of a child lost to the shadows? She pushed forward, breath flaming in her throat, a burning desire to shield her daughter from whatever lay ahead. Lower and lower she went until she reached the final step, the wooden tread cracking ominously beneath her weight. The basement was vast and cavernous, filled with forgotten relics of the past, furniture draped in white sheets, toys scattered like memories abandoned. A strange glow emanated from the far corner, pulsating gently. "Lily?" she called again, voice trembling. She squinted into the gloom, heart thudding as she made out the form of her daughter. Lily stood mesmerized by a circle of light on the ground, her small fingers tracing patterns in the air. "Mommy, come see." Lily's voice rang with a mixture of joy and innocent wonder, a stark contrast to the dread swelling in Sarah's chest. What was drawing her daughter's attention? "No. Don't touch it." Sarah's instinct kicked in, but it felt like screaming into a void as she rushed forward, the ground seemingly sucking at her feet. As she approached the strange glow, reality warped. Symbols shimmered with a life of their own, twisting and turning like snakes in a fever dream. The basement felt alive, pulsating around her like a dark and malevolent heart. What was this? What had the neighbors done? "Mommy, it's pretty." Lily laughed innocently, completely unaware of the danger lurking beneath the surface. Panic surged through Sarah like wildfire. Just as she reached for Lily, the laughter twisted into a sinister cackle that echoed off the walls, shattering the fragile illusion of safety and plunging her into a nightmare woven from the very fabric of her neighbor's horrors. Suddenly, a pair of icy hands gripped her wrist, a familiar force tugging her into the unknown. Who, or what, had claimed this basement as their own? The lights flickered, and shadows shifted. Sarah's breath hitched as she felt the air grow cold, a whisper curling around her, echoing in the dark. "Welcome home." Sarah's heart lurched. What had she uncovered in this cursed sanctuary? And what unspeakable pact bound the families on this cursed street? In the distance, a voice hummed through the gloom, promising revelations that could shatter their lives forever. But her time to act was running out. Would Sarah be able to pull her daughter away from the glowing threat, or would the secrets of the cul-de-sac consume them both? A jolt of terror surged through Sarah as the icy hands tightened around her wrist. She turned to face the entity that had plunged her into the depths of this nightmare. But the shadows obscured all form and definition, making her pulse race faster than she thought possible. Her heartbeat drummed a frantic rhythm against her ribs as she pulled her daughter closer to her. "Lily, we have to go. Now." Panic twisted the words in her throat, but the innocent expression on her daughter's face chilled her to the core. Lily was still entranced by the malevolent glow, her wide eyes reflecting eagerness instead of fear. Drawing closer to her daughter, Sarah kicked into survival mode, trying to shake off the cold grip that pulled at her. The laughter morphed again, now a cacophony, a chorus of voices that rose from the darkness. Each syllable twisted and writhed like poisonous vines around her mind, suffocating her thoughts. "Stay away from the light, sweetheart." Sarah screamed, her voice raw, ripping through the layers of silence like glass shattering on concrete. The pulse of the basement trembled, thudding in rhythm with the bass of her heart, but the glow was irresistible. It twisted and writhed, drawing Lily in, its colors flickering like a dying flame. The symbols danced, swirling around them, blending horror and allure in one terrifying tableau. Sarah grappled with dread as she fought to pry Lily's fingers away from the enchanted circle. "Mommy," Lily protested. Her soft voice was threaded with confusion, lacking the urgency that surged through Sarah's veins. The grip on Sarah's wrist slackened just enough for her to wrench free, but the shadows swirled hungrily, eager to reclaim her. She stepped back, dragging Lily against her side, feeling the temperature drop as the air thickened with an unnatural chill. "Let us go." Sarah's voice cracked, desperation bleeding through. Behind them, a figure emerged, a vague outline that loomed in the dark. The basement seemed to expand and contract around it, hungry for more victims. The element of fear, once her ally, now morphed into a vice that tightened around her heart. Anxiety gnawed at her gut, urging her to flee the presence gathering strength in the bitter shadows, but before they could turn to escape, the air crackled. Chilling laughter erupted, echoing from the figure, predatory and mocking. The laughter encased them, curling like smoke, sinking deep into her bones. Each peal seemed to grasp at her sanity. "Your daughter, she belongs here. With us." The voice slithered through the basement, a chorus of whispers joining the laughter. It invaded her mind, feeding her insecurities, dark thoughts blossoming like deadly blooms. "Get away from her!" Sarah roared, feeling guardianship ignite within her. But the chilling truth seeped in. There was something harmonizing within the darkness, summoning her daughter to a fate she couldn't comprehend. Another pulling sensation, stronger, forcing her to stare into the depths of the glowing circle. Images flashed, a flickering montage of the families in the cul-de-sac, their eyes hollow, faces twisted in agony. Each face was a familiar ghost among them, smiling, beckoning. What price had they paid to remain tethered to this darkness? Panic bubbled within her as Sarah fought to clear her raced mind. The truth loomed on the horizon, brewing like a storm, but clarity was a luxury she couldn't afford now. She picked the wrong path, the wrong home. Was it too late to turn back? Suddenly, Lily shrieked, not out of fear, but joy. "Mommy! They want to play." "No!" The word shot out of her like an arrow, a warning, a plea. But as Sarah tightened her grip on her daughter, she knew the darkness was beginning to weave its spell. Could she break the grasp before it was too late? The shadows twisted, laughter intensifying, and as she stepped back, a familiar pulse matched her heartbeat, a connection binding her closer to this chilling abyss. What secrets awaited inside that menacing glow? Was there any way to save Lily, or had she stepped past the threshold into a fate worse than she could ever have imagined? The laughter echoed, swirling around them like a suffocating fog. Sarah could feel the shadows pressing in, their coldness etching despair into her bones. In that moment, she understood that escaping this nightmare would demand everything she had. "Lily, listen to me," Sarah pleaded, shaking her daughter gently, trying to break through the spell. "We have to leave. This isn't a game. They're not your friends." As the words escaped her lips, the entity at the center of the circle shifted. It expanded, stretching like a dark cloud chasing the light, darkening every corner of the basement. Sarah's heart pounded harder, drowning out the laughter for just a moment. Something in the air shifted, a whisper of freedom brushing against her, urging her to break the trance. "Mommy, please." Lily whimpered, her face scrunching up as she fought within herself. It was a fleeting moment of clarity. The fierce love bloomed in Sarah's chest, overpowering the dread that clawed at her. She knelt before her daughter, looking deep into those innocent eyes. "You have to fight it, baby. Just look at me." The glow flickered, momentarily dimming. The shadows hesitated, drawn back as if hit by a blast of light from a tiny star. That single pause ignited hope in Sarah's heart. She squeezed Lily's shoulders, feeling the warmth of her child, a lifeline amidst the encroaching dark. Thick tendrils of darkness writhed angrily, slapping against the walls. The voices escalated in fury, distorted and roaring. "Join us. She is ours." "No." Sarah's scream sliced through the noise like a blade. With newfound resolve, she pulled Lily closer and stood. They could still get away, the path was there, waiting. Together, they turned toward the stairway leading up. Shadows surged forward, a wave of clamoring anguish. Cold fingers wrapped around Sarah's ankles, tugging with ferocity. She stumbled, fighting against the weight pulling her down. "Hold on, Lily. Just hold on." With a fierce grip, she yanked herself forward, dragging her daughter. Their feet hit the first step, but the grip around Sarah tightened like iron chains. The chuckling voices raged louder, swirling in furious dissonance, each laugh resonating with raw malice. Suddenly, the basement trembled as if it were alive, the air filled with a thick, acrid stench. "Your home is not safe. You cannot escape." The shadows hissed, their words crawling over Sarah's skin. "Mommy, I can't." Lily's voice faltered, caught in the web of horror. "No. You can." Sarah gasped, tugging her daughter up another step, heart pounding like a war drum. With each upward motion, the shadows clawed harder, a relentless vice pushing against her will, but in their struggle, something cracked within Sarah. Something deep inside yearned, echoed by the witch's whispers. "Stay with us, become one with the shadows, find eternal joy in darkness." The words echoed through her, a siren song that demanded her focus. Beads of sweat dripped down her forehead as she wrestled against the seductive pull. The basement pulsed, the glow shifting wildly, blinding her momentarily. "Stay with me, Lily. Focus on the light," she shouted, her voice shaking. With every syllable, she poured her will into her daughter, grounding the bond they shared like a tether to safety. The energy around them crackled, the air saturated with dread and determination. Suddenly, an otherworldly scream erupted from the shadows, reverberating through the basement. It was a cacophony of fury, the entity unraveling before them. Sarah felt the cold grip release just a bit. With a final surge of effort, she threw herself and Lily up the steps with all her strength, but as they reached the door, a chilling revelation struck. The basement wasn't the end. The darkness had spilled into the rest of the house, the walls pulsing as if aware of their presence, thirsting for more. They burst through the door, but would they escape? The whispers followed them, lingering like a haunting memory. "Your escape is only temporary. You will return." Heart racing, Sarah turned to face her daughter, desperation etched on her face. "Where do we go now? How do we fight this?" The shadows from the basement coiled around the doorway, waiting for their moment. What terrifying secrets lay beyond the threshold of their once safe home? Would the darkness let them go, or was it merely waiting to claim them again? The air outside the basement felt different, thick with a tension that made every breath feel heavier. Sarah could still hear the echoes of laughter, taunting her from the depths below. Panic flared in her chest as she tightened her grip on Lily's hand, her heart racing as they ventured into the darkened hallway. "Stay close, Lily," she whispered, her voice shaky. Every shadow in the corner of her eye felt alive, watching, waiting. They moved swiftly into the living room, the furniture shrouded in a creeping darkness. It felt like they had entered an unfamiliar world where the light was afraid to shine. Sarah flicked on the nearest lamp, and its weak glow cast long, trembling shadows that danced against the wall. But the brightness didn't comfort her, it only highlighted the terror that loomed. "What do we do now?" Lily's tremor broke through the stillness. Sarah forced a smile, though her throat felt like it was tightening like a noose. "We figure this out together. We're going to be okay." The mischievous whispers shifted, now seeming to seep through the very walls of their home. "You cannot hide, Sarah, we will find you," she shuddered, trying to dispel the chilling sensation crawling up her spine. Every fiber in her body screamed for them to escape the house. They couldn't stay here, but where could they go? "I remember," Lily whispered suddenly, her voice rising above the ominous whispers. "In my book, there was a way to break the spell. You just need to find the source and find the source." Sarah interjected, her hopes igniting. "Where is it?" The book said, but before Lily could finish, a loud bang resonated from the kitchen, a sound like thunder crushing in on them. Sarah's heart leaped into her throat. Stay behind me. The two edged toward the kitchen door, shadows swirling like a tempest around them. Each step felt like wading through tar, heavy and suffocating. She paused to take a breath, but a hint of coppery iron invaded her senses, making her stomach churn. "Mommy?" Lily's small voice echoed, trembling but resolute. "I'm right here," but Sarah's voice was laced with uncertainty. As they entered the kitchen, the sight before them made her blood run cold. The dishes were shattered across the floor, remnants of their once normal lives. An eerie silence hung palpably, void of any comforting sounds of home. Suddenly, a figure materialized in the doorway, draped in shadows. Sarah staggered back, clutching Lily. The figure's shoulders heaved with laughter, deep and distorted, resonating in her bones. "Did you think you could escape, Sarah? This is just the beginning." Sarah turned, dragging her daughter with her, desperation clawing at her resolve. "No. Stay back." As they darted out, she slipped, her foot catching on a jagged shard of glass. Pain shot through her as she fell, but she didn't have time to think about it. She scrambled, pulling Lily to her side. The figure beckoned to them, its fingers elongated, writhing like snakes in the dim light. "You can run, but you cannot hide. I will always be here." Stumbling back into the living room, Sarah's gaze darted to the hallway leading to the basement. The door swayed open, creaking ominously, breath escaping her lips. It was a horrible invitation. "Mommy, don't." Lily pleaded, the tremor in her voice igniting a fire within Sarah. "What if the book's right?" Lily's eyes glimmered with a fleeting hope. "What if the source is down there?" Listen, another deafening crash came from the kitchen, scattering their thoughts. "I don't want to go back. Please." Lily's voice wavered, desperate choices loomed. But that last glimmer from her daughter's eyes, the idea that to reclaim their lives, they might have to face the very darkness threatening to consume them. "Okay," Sarah said, pushing past her fear. "We go down together." The shadows writhed, whispering encouragement, but Sarah couldn't focus on them. She pulled Lily closer, her heart pounding wildly. As they took a step toward that open door, a chilling realization slammed into Sarah. What if they weren't the hunters? What if they were merely the prey, just as they prepared to step into the darkness? The lights flickered, plunging them into total blackness. In that moment, they heard a soft, sultry voice echoing in the dark. "You're too late. The game has already begun." What horror awaited them below? Would facing the darkness lead to freedom or further entrapment? And could their bond withstand the ultimate test? The darkness pressed in around them, swathing Sarah and Lily in an oppressive blanket of dread. The air felt electric, alive with threat. Sarah's instincts screamed for her to turn back, to escape into the faint light of the living room. But the whispering shadows called to her, seducing her with promises she dared not trust. "Stay close, Lily." She could hardly recognize her own voice, tight and strained. Every breath filled with a briny taste of fear. They stepped cautiously down the basement stairs, each step filled with menace. The wood creaked under their weight, echoing the laughter that still taunted them, its distorted tones brushing against their ears. It was soft, almost playful, but there was nothing cute about it. The remnants of old belongings loomed around them: moth-eaten furniture, forgotten toys, a strange rocking chair swaying slightly as if someone invisible had just left it. Sarah's heart pounded harder. The basement seemed to shift and breathe like a living creature, alive with memories better left undisturbed. "Mommy," Lily's voice quivered, the tiny girl caught between fear and resolve. "What if it's really down here?" "I don't know," Sarah replied, forcing her feet to move. "But we have to find it. We have to find the source." As they delved deeper, the dim light from Sarah's phone flickered, revealing sinister shapes in the corners. Shadows danced deceitfully, twisting into figures that darted just out of sight. Panic surged, the walls felt like they were closing in. A sudden crashing sound startled them, reverberating through the air, making Sarah's chest tighten. What was that? Maybe we should go back, Lily suggested, her small voice barely above a whisper. No. We have to keep going. Sarah's voice hardened, a mix of fear and determination flaring anew. She had to protect Lily at all costs. The shadows couldn't win. They rounded a corner and stumbled upon a sight that froze them both in place. An old mirror stood against the wall, its surface smudged with dirt and cracked in places. Reflections flickered like distorted memories, twisted images swirling like an unsolved puzzle in the glass. "Mommy, look!" Lily pointed. "That doesn't look like us." In the fragmented glass, Sarah saw strange faces lurking behind them, faces that were neither fully formed nor entirely human. With each blink, they seemed to pulse, alive and hungry. Panic clutched at Sarah's heart, and she instinctively stepped in front of Lily, shielding her from what lurked in the reflection. "We have to." Before Sarah could finish, a cold wind gusted through the basement, extinguishing their light. The darkness was absolute. "Mommy?" Lily's small hands trembled against her waist. "Stay still," Sarah hissed, mind racing. Her thoughts spiraled in a frenzy of despair. "We can't let it take us." A giggle echoed, close and sinister, as a figure crept closer through the shadows. Sarah felt a chill creep down her spine. She sensed that familiar aura, one that had haunted her since their arrival. "Are you afraid?" The voice taunted, becoming more sinister, wrapping around them like a snake. "The darkness knows what you fear. It will feast upon your doubts. Run!" Sarah screamed, grabbing Lily's hand, pulling them toward the stairs. But before they could escape, the basement door slammed shut with a thunderous boom, trapping them in encroaching darkness. "Mommy, what do we do?" Lily cried, terror thick in her voice. "We find the source. We face it together. We can do this," Sarah insisted, though panic gnawed at her resolve. As the whispering intensified, encircling them, the reflection in the mirror shifted, showing a clearer image of the dark figure that had pursued them. It wasn't just a creature, it was twisting into a form that resembled Sarah, a dark mimic of herself. "It's time to play," the voice hissed, and a grating laugh echoed as the figure stretched its hand toward them, fingers sharpening into claws. Desperation surged within Sarah. She couldn't let it take them. The book had mentioned a way to banish the darkness. "Lily, help me. We need to speak the words." "Which words, Mommy?" Lily whimpered. "I don't know yet. We just need to." As Sarah searched her mind for answers, the shadows tightened around them, swallowing their last breaths of hope. Would the darkness consume them? Or could they turn the tides and reclaim their lives together? In that moment of dread, a flicker of light appeared at the edge of the basement, pulsing ominously. But what awaited them beyond the veil of shadows? Was it salvation or doom? The cold wind howled through the basement, a haunting echo shivering through Sarah's bones. The flickering light pulsed again, faint, but insistent. It drew her attention, whispering of hope in the unbearable darkness. She held Lily tightly, her heart racing with the urge to flee or fight. "Can you see it, Mommy?" Lily asked, her voice a fragile thread in the thick blanket of fear. Sarah squinted, focusing on the shadowy glow. "I think so. Stay close to me." With centering determination, she maneuvered toward the light, dragging Lily behind her. Every step felt weighted under the oppressive force of the shadows, closing in like a tightening noose. The sinister giggles echoed louder, filling the corners of her mind with dread. As they moved closer, shapes materialized around the source of the pulse, grotesque shadows that loomed and writhed as if celebrating their plight. The glow turned into two glimmering eyes, piercing through the suffocating dark, flaring with a hunger that made Sarah's stomach churn. "Come play with us." The voice distorted, coming from all directions, and laughter bubbled up, childlike but twisted. "Mommy, I'm scared." Lily's small frame trembled against Sarah's side, her grip tightening. "We want to play," Sarah said fiercely, summoning every ounce of courage. We'll find the light. As they moved forward, the air thickened with an overwhelming heaviness, making each step a battle. The eyes flickered, revealing more of the figure, a sentient mass of shadows, coiling and stretching, a monstrous distortion glimmering with malicious intent. The dark mimic loomed closer, reflecting Sarah's worst fears and insecurities. Face yourself, Sarah, you cannot run. The voice echoed, smooth and serpentine, as it reflected her essence back to her doubts, her failures, manifesting in grotesque forms. Motherhood is a game one you may never win. A deadly cold washed over her, nearly paralyzing. No, I won't let you take us. She yelled, shoving the ice of fear aside. We are stronger than you. Suddenly, a new sound broke through, a distant, desperate whisper weaving into the laughter. The words, Sarah, remember the words. It sounded ethereal but filled with urgency, threading through the din like a lifeline. The strange, flickering light danced wildly, the shadows around them pulsed in fury. Sarah racked her mind, searching for the incantation hidden in the recesses of her memory. Lily, I need you to be brave. We must remember together. Brave, Lily echoed softly, her wide eyes reflecting the frantic glow. We're brave. We're brave. Sarah repeated, her voice rising in courage as she held Lily's shoulders. Repeat after me. Light, reveal the darkness that lies beneath. Light, reveal the darkness that lies beneath. Lily's voice trembled but held firm, the shadows fluttered, and their laughter faltered, fading momentarily as the chant strengthened. The glow from their united voices grew brighter, the figure recoiling, thrashing against the surge of light. Louder! Sarah urged. We need to fight it. Light, reveal the darkness that lies beneath. They shouted in unison, a potent chant overwhelming the sinister laughter. The shadows writhed, a cacophony of rage and despair swirling around them, but as they chanted, the oppressive weight began lifting, splintering like breaking glass. The eyes dimmed as their light flickered, struggling against the power gathering, but just as hope illuminated the dread, the laughter returned with a vengeance. You think you can banish me so easily? The voice hissed, resuming its sinister pitch. What will you do once you see what lies beyond? The shadow shrank into a vortex of darkness, and the floor trembled. The basement vibrated with a dangerous energy, shadows swirling madly as if pitting against the chant. Sarah's heart raced. What lay beyond the banishment? Was there a deeper truth hidden in the void, something even darker than the reflection chasing them? Don't stop! She cried out, her voice blending into an iridescent harmony with Lily's, but just as the shadows began to fade, a pulse of energy surged through the room like a clap of thunder, throwing them backward as the mirror flashed, revealing something unspeakable, a vision of horror that stopped their breath. What hideous truth awaited them in that mirror? Would they be strong enough to face it, or had this battle only just begun? The basement shook with a force that rattled their bones, pieces of ceiling plaster crumbling around them. Sarah instinctively shielded Lily, pulling her closer, but the strike of panic was electric in the air. Shadows danced frantically, limbs stretching and contorting. The mirror pulsed ominously, revealing distorted faces twisted in agony. Fear clawed at Sarah's throat. What is that? Lily gasped, her eyes wide with terror. I don't know. Sarah's mind raced, battling against the curling dread. Would the vision hold the key to their survival or seal their doom? The mirror's surface shimmered, becoming a swirling vortex of despair. Familiar faces emerged and then vanished, neighbors lost to time, their expressions frozen in horror. Sarah recognized them, had seen them smiling in the sunlight, exchanging pleasantries on the street. Now, their mouths opened in silent screams, a cacophony of terror resonating in the basement. They were trapped in the glass, pleading with empty eyes. Mommy! They look like they're hurting. Lily whimpered, trembling against her mother's side. It's okay, honey. They can't hurt us. We'll find a way. Sarah's heart raced. She had to stay strong, she had to protect Lily. But with each heartbeat, the shadows seeped closer, the laughter wrapping around them like barbed wire. "Come closer, Sarah. I can show you what they fear." The voice twisted, entwined with the shadows, promising devastating truths. It was seductive and sinister, a sickly sweet temptation that stung her thoughts. "No!" Sarah shouted, resolute. "We are not afraid of you. Fear is your truest companion." The shadows curled around her, tugging at her resolve. "You'll see, you'll understand." The mirror shivered, madness reflecting within. The air thickened, swirling around them as if the darkness had begun to breathe. With a quick glance at Lily, Sarah steeled herself. She needed to be the light, not just for herself but for her daughter. They could not give in. "Lily, we need the words again. Now," she urged, dispelling the suffocating aura. "Light, reveal the darkness that lies beneath." The words came from Lily again, trembling yet determined, echoing through the chaos like a life buoy thrown into turbulent waters. "Yes, just like that. Together." They shouted the incantation again, voices melding into a force that seemed to push against the shadows. The laughter turned into howls, waves of despair crashing against them as they chanted. Suddenly, the light surged, flooding the room. Swirling shadows flickered, their forms shrinking under the weight of the chant. The figures in the mirror howled as reality rested its grip, becoming frantic. "Listen!" Sarah yelled over the cacophony, their moment of clarity bringing a perilous calm. "What are you hiding?" "Motherhood destroys," the sinister echo whispered, twisting Sarah's insecurities like a knife. "It devours your soul." "No." She fought against its grip, the words volleyed back like a shield. "I'm not a prisoner. We are not alone." With each recitation, the shadows wavered, throbbing in agony. The transparent truth was almost there. A revelation lingered just beyond the cusp of the chaos. But just as they felt the tides shift, a monstrous shadow erupted from the mirror, a thrumming figure clad in darkness that bore the weight of all their fears. "Do you dare to defy me?" it roared, stretching into a terrifying form that eclipsed them both, writhing with rage. Sarah felt the heat of pure dread, an ancient horror born from the depths of human consciousness rising to greet them. And then she realized it wasn't the voice of a singular demon but the collective echo of every fear she'd ever harbored. The creatures in the mirror, they were more than faces, they embodied the countless doubts, failures, and fears she had hidden away, waiting for her to acknowledge them. "Hold on, Lily!" Sarah screamed as the darkness closed in. What would happen if they faced this shadow? Would the truth set them free, or would it unleash a darkness far worse than imagined? The shriek of defiance filled the basement, and she gripped Lily's hand tighter. But the answer to her question remained shrouded in darkness. The mirror cracked again, flickering with images of the past, of choices made and unmade. What secrets would come to life in the shattering glass? Would they escape the receding nightmare or step into an even deeper abyss? The basement thrummed with an energy that felt alive, pulsating like a heart steeped in malevolence. Shadows clawed at the walls, stretching and contorting, twisting the familiar surroundings into the grotesque. Sarah's breath quickened as she gripped Lily's hand tighter. The darkness pressed in, suffocating, leaving behind a metallic taste of fear in her mouth. "What do we do?" Lily's small voice trembled, echoing Sarah's own rising panic. "Just hold on to me," Sarah whispered, her resolve wavering as the monstrous shadow loomed larger, wrapping around them like a sinister shroud. "We're going to find a way out." The air shifted, and the cracking sounds of the mirror splintering filled the room. Tendrils of blackness snaked closer, reaching for them, hungry and eager. Memories flashed within the fractured surface, moments of laughter, first days at school, birthday parties, each image tainted by the shadows, each a reminder of the life they could lose. "No! Not this!" Sarah shouted, her voice rising above the howling chaos. "You don't own us." "Own you?" The shadow jeered, its voice dripping with mocking delight. I'm merely here to show you the truth you've been running from. And then, in a horrific wave, Sarah felt an icy grip over her heart, a slam of memories crashing inside her mind. Doubts she'd buried long ago clawed to the surface, the times she hadn't been enough, the second guesses in motherhood, the nights spent worrying about Lily. Each moment unsettled her, turning the memories into monsters that threatened to swallow her whole. You're haunted, Sarah. They're all right behind you, whispering to you, it continued, words snaking around her mind. You can feel them, can't you? Unyielding, Sarah shot back, they only exist if I let them. They are my past. I decide who I am. Then let us see how strong that conviction is. The shadow roared, lunging forward like a coiled serpent. A chain reaction exploded in her mind, releasing the myriad of emotions. Each shadow came alive, darting and twisting, but amongst them, she spotted a familiar face. Dad, the visage of her father emerged from the dark, smiling yet grim, a reminder of her childhood, of strength and warmth. Not all shadows are monsters. Some are echoes of our past. At that moment, she understood. They were reflections of the aspects she feared to confront. She turned to Lily, who stood wide-eyed, her small figure trembling against the wall. Lily, we can do this together. Yes, Mommy. She shouted, her voice ringing through the gloom. Exhaling sharply, Sarah tightened her hold on Lily's hand, forcing herself to focus. Light, reveal the darkness that lies beneath. Together, we confront the failures. The words shot forth like a beacon, illuminating the space around them. The shadows writhed, shrieking in agony as the light began to expel them, unraveling the darkness thread by thread. It was clarity and chaos, strength against fear. Fingers of light stretched toward the mirror, revealing ever more faces trapped within. Each face, a painful memory, a regret, bringing a wave of despair crashing over Sarah, threatening to drown her resolve. A blinding flash erupted from the mirror's core, and Sarah cried out. Each echo of pain surged through them, a reminder they were all fighting the same battle. The revelation hit her like a thunderbolt. Confrontation was the path to freedom, but embracing the truth could be lethal. Lily, we must be brave. Close your eyes. And as they shielded themselves, the last vestiges of light consumed the shadows, burning them away like fog under the sun. Yet, just as the relief washed over them, a final, chilling whisper echoed in the stillness. Your greatest fear hasn't yet awakened. As the dust settled, the basement hummed with an unsettling quiet. Shadows lingered just out of sight, anticipation crackling like electricity in the air. What else lay hidden in the depths? Would they truly emerge from this nightmarish struggle intact, or was there more lurking, more truths waiting to be uncovered? Lily and Sarah stood in silence, hearts pounding, teetering at the edge of revelation. What power would they awaken next? Reticence lay thick in the air, but they both knew the battle was far from over. The aftermath of the chaos consumed the basement, shadows flickering and retreating, while the moment of stillness seemed unnatural. Sarah knelt with Lily, their breaths mingling in turbulent waves of relief and lingering dread. The air tasted sweeter, yet a chill brushed against her skin, reminding them they weren't free yet. Mommy, did we win? Lily asked, her voice small and hopeful. We've fought a battle. Sarah's heart raced. She felt the residual energy from the fight surge like a stored current, but knew they had to remain vigilant. But the war isn't over. We need to find the source. The mirror stood cracked, its surface swirled with dark remnants, fragments of shadows still roiling within. Sarah pulled Lily closer, ready to explore what lay in the depths. Each moment of clarity threatened to dissolve again into disarray. Look. Lily pointed at the mirror, her eyes wide. Within the jagged surface, a shape began to take form, no longer smiling or grim, but eerily familiar. It twisted and shook, shimmering like wisps of smoke struggling against a gale. Sarah leaned in, feeling a pull beyond her control. What is that? The image sharpened, revealing a younger version of herself, a girl with tangled hair, filled with dreams, laughter, and boundless innocence. But surrounding that innocent visage, dark tendrils snaked around her, wrapping tightly, smothering her joy. That part of us, it feels trapped. Mommy, what does it want? Lily's question weighed heavy in the silence. It wants freedom, and it wants to be seen. Sarah spoke softly, knowing they needed to confront the very essence of itself, the hurt wrapped in shadows. This was not only the darkness of neighbors or childhood fears, it was part of her. Sarah could feel every rejection, every moment she felt less than enough. Let us stand together, she urged, gripping Lily's hand tightly. Speak the words with me. Light, reveal the darkness that lies beneath. They shouted in unison, their voices intertwining like a solid bond that forged ahead against the shadows still whispering in the corners. The air shimmered. The cracks in the mirror began to widen, explosively releasing echoes of memories. Echoes of innocent laughter turned to distant cries, joy becoming sorrow. The darkness encircled Lily's figure, but determination blazed bright. The weight of her childhood surfed back, rising stark against the barrier of fears. The sights and sounds of heartbreak, rejection, loss, they filled her mind. Realization sizzled, like summer heat against skin. I can't let you take my past, my fears, my daughter. Face the truth. Only through acceptance can we escape. The shadow hissed, materializing into fragments ripped from her past. Not today. Sarah shouted, standing firm against the blurring illusions that sought to collapse her resolve. As she and Lily continued chanting, the mirror vibrated violently, releasing bursts of energy that crashed against the shadows swirling around them. Flickers of light ignited the darkness, revealing the frightened little girl trapped within. Come to us. We're stronger together. Amidst the turmoil, the younger Sarah looked up, her eyes sparking with the hope of connection. The cords tethering her began to unravel under the luminous chant. The child began to merge with them, an ethereal figure of pure light. I see you. I'm here. Sarah cried out. All the pieces belong. In that moment, the basement erupted with radiant energy as the shadows writhed in agony, their power waning before the pure luminosity. I am not afraid. I welcome every piece of me back. The darkness roared, angry and fierce, yet it faltered, consumed by the rising light. An almost musical crash echoed as the shadows surged, screamed, and finally shattered. Mommy? Is it over? Lily whispered, her eyes glowing with the remnants of their battle. Yes, perhaps for now, Sarah gasped, as the tension in the air lifted and the world brightened. But then, as if an unseen curtain had just been yanked away, the basement transformed. The walls shimmered with light, the remnants of the shadows faded into memory, engulfing them with warmth. It felt real. It felt new. Together, we can tackle anything, Sarah declared, pulling Lily close as they ascended back toward the living room, hearts thumping in unison. Emerging from the depths felt like stepping out of a prolonged nightmare, their strides growing stronger with each passing moment. The air was filled with hope and possibility. As they stepped into the day, sunshine spilled across the cul-de-sac, golden and inviting. The neighbors' houses were just homes again, devoid of their sinister enchantments. Sarah felt the burdens of the past ease with each step into this new reality. Can we stay here forever, Mommy? Lily asked, voice brimming with innocence. For as long as we can, sweetheart. But remember, life is not just about escaping darkness. It's about welcoming both the light and the shadow. Sarah looked toward Lily, love and determination flooding her heart. This was her promise, a life lived fully with a bond that could weather any storm. Mommy. Can we play outside? Lily's laughter sliced through the air, a sweet melody that resonated through the streets. Yes. Let us go, Sarah smiled, taking in the lush green grass, the vibrant colors of life surrounding them. They stepped out, ready to embrace a brighter world together, knowing the journey wasn't over, but now they would walk it hand in hand, conquering every shadow that dared to cross their path, and as the sun dipped into the horizon, painting the sky with colors only hope could imagine, Sarah felt a spark within. This was a new beginning, together they would thrive, but even as they laughed in the sun-drenched streets, a faint whisper slipped through the cracks of the basement. Every darkness carries its own shadow. The returning wind caressed the branches of the nearby trees, blending with the laughter in the air, a reminder that light needs darkness to shine. Now, more than ever, they were ready to face it all. You need to subscribe now. Don't miss the next exclusive stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and show your support. We couldn't do this without you. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this thrilling conclusion. We want to hear from every single one of you. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this heart-pounding climax. True fans understand the importance of supporting the channel, so let us make noise together.